Good evening, everybody. How's it going? I thought I would bring another sweater to your attention, and thought you might enjoy this lovely pink concoction that I made and sort of adapted from a Lopi pattern, which is this one. I hesitate to even try to pronounce that, but it features sheep, and that really got me. I had to have a pattern that features sheep. This pattern I purchased from Webs. They have some patterns on there. And I noticed that, well, this guy's a little skinnier than me. So I did make some changes. And I thought I would just kind of talk you through a little bit of those so you can kind of see how I have the sheep. That's what we want. But I added a number of little elements here. So I gave my sheep a more obvious color of grass to stand on. I actually made it yellow. And in the pattern, it has this these two bands, and the sweater that is the sample, it's in gray, so it's really kind of hard to make out. And I thought, well, could be because of the Icelandic landscape. Now, I could have done green. I do have green. So this sort of lace pattern that is in the original, I used a kind of a mint green for that. And that was partly because I had it in my stash, but partly because so you can tell I was going for a little bit of an Easter vibe. So I gave my sheep a more obvious color of grass to stand on. And I also added, so we have kind of like little trees going on here. But in the original pattern, they transitioned directly to the star pattern yoke, whereas I was basically trying to enlarge this pattern a little bit so that it would just fit my body girth and height and all that. So I added a kind of a flower pattern that, and to be honest, I'm not even sure where I found it, but as you know, I have a lot of dictionaries of Fair Island colorwork motifs, so I probably got it from one of those. And I also changed up the top. So this original has the striped ribbing going all the way to the top, and I decided that I wanted to match the neckline with the sleeves. And again, you can tell in the original, the sleeves just have a different color, and I did that too. So I have the yellow down here. And I just really wanted the collar and the sleeves to line up. So I made that change. And I kind of like it. To me, it feels a little more finished. But, whatever. I mean, it's just a question of taste, right? And I also have the contrasting waistband in the yellow with a 2x2 rib. And also, again, I think my little mountains on the bottom are a lot more evident than they are in the original color scheme, because I can barely see them. If you look really closely, yeah, they're there, they're gray, and they're just not very evident. So I just wanted to have more contrast, and I really enjoy brighter colors of yarn. Now, this yarn is, I know it's from South America. I made the sweater a little while ago. I should have probably looked at the kind of yarn, but it is South American. And it is superwash. It's a better quality superwash than what I've used from Cascade. So I'm actually fairly pleased with how this turned out. I'm not sure I would ever knit a superwash sweater again, to be honest. But I am pleased with the result of how this turned out. I've gotten so much into the woolly wools lately and how they behave and how they soften when they are washed. I have a hand wash setting in my washer, so I just do things that way. And this has a kind of a slippery feel to it, just because it is superwash. It has the polymers that are added to the hairs of the sheep. It's interesting. So today I was over at the school for the blind offering a knitting lesson, and I was showing the students all these different kinds of yarn, and I was trying to explain the superwash process and talking about, how sheep's hairs have scales. And it's a real challenge to talk about something that's so tiny that even we sighted people can only see an exploded diagram or something, and how they were coated, with polymers to get rid of the scales and make the hair smooth so that they couldn't felt and all this stuff. So it was a really interesting conversation. I think the students, they were 18 years old. I think they followed what I was trying to say, but it was a real delightful challenge to try to convey that to someone who can't see, who never saw. These students could never see, and they have no sight. And I think they caught on. I think they got what I was trying to explain. So you really find yourself having to search for the right words in a situation like that. So I think this yarn feels super smooth. Some people like that. Add some comments about your feelings about superwash yarn. Of course, it is washable, and a lot of people appreciate that convenience. But I have become kind of a devotee of woolly wool yarns, and the fact that they do have a richer texture, I like that feeling of the woolliness on my hands. But I'm very pleased, in any case, with the result of this sweater. And if you have any questions about this pattern or the changes that I made to it, I had to, redesign the entire color scheme basically to make my plan work with sizing it and my Easter color palette, as it were. But I'd love to know how you adapt sweater patterns too. If you feel comfortable doing that, or if you prefer to stick to the original and honor the author's intentions. I think knitting is an interesting hobby from that standpoint, because people are totally unafraid of just, I'm just going to change that. I want to do it my way. And I do like that freeing quality. I'm a jazz musician, so when I have to play classical music, sometimes I get a little bit hung up about, darn it, I have to play just what they want and I have to figure out what it is. If I make a mistake, it'll sound terrible. But when I play jazz, I have a basic chord progression, and then I can just lay over top of it whatever I want, as long as it kind of harmonizes with the language. So that's the way I feel about knitting, and let me know your thoughts. I'd be really curious. So thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Nitty Professor, and I'll see y'all soon. Ciao!